2024. Commissioner Lawrence, please lead us in the invocation.
Let's pray together tonight. Father, we thank you for the privilege that we have to come into your presence tonight. I pray that as we do the business of the county, that you give us grace and wisdom and knowing the right directions to go. And Lord, I pray that you would just be with those that we support throughout the county and our veterans and the many other entities that we do here. I pray that you just bless their, give the committees that we are all on and that we rely on day by day, give them the wisdom and grace as well. And I ask all these things in our precious Lord and Savior's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. In the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, can we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Leyland, Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Locke, Chair Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Howie,
Present.
Vice Chair Barrera,
Present.
Commissioner Marquetti,
Here.
and Commissioner Lee.
Very good. Next, we're going to move into public comment. Before we begin, I just want to remind everyone that's here that we are going to limit that to 3 minutes a person. There's generally no back and forth discussion between the public and the board. After your 3 minutes has concluded, we will ask, if you wish to continue to speak, we'll ask the board if that's okay to move forward, and we'll grant permission then. So anyone who wants to speak, please head to the podium and start by announcing your name.
Jim, I got them for
Okay.
later on in the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Give them more time.
Okay.
Going once, twice. All right, no public comments. So just hit yes, right?
Yep.
We'll move into the next section, the additions and deletions to the agenda.
Yep, we have two. First, I'd like to add the amendment for the FOC Bank Depository update under new business, and it'll be item number C.
Very good. Do we need to have discussion on that, or we just?
Not
add
yet.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
just add it.
All right.
And then after that, I'd like to add Frank Butts under new business as a discussion topic. And he's gonna discuss our ambulance authority issue that we have in the county. That's okay with you, Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's all we have.
Very good. Any more further additions or deletions to the agenda? All right, that concludes that. We'll need the approval of the agenda
I move to approve the agenda.
As amended.
as
Second.
amended.
As amended.
Yep.
All right, we have approval and support. Any discussion? Chair Jones, will you approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
I move that we approve the December 21st, 2023 Committee of the Whole minutes.
Second.
All right, support, or excuse me, we have the motion and support.
Yep.
Any discussion? Do we have to vote on it, or we just?
Yes, all in favor.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Ooh.
Moving right along, we have our financial report.
It's just in the packet if anyone has any questions.
Is there any discussion on the financial report that's been included in the packet? Do I have to add on to that?
Nope.
Good. All right.
Let's
No
move to-
unfinished business. We're gonna move right into new business. The first item that we have is the Mission to Chill program. Let me move over to that here. And I did ask Treasurer Hope to come forth and speak a little bit on this subject.
If I may, I would like to start out by bringing your attention to the remarkable progress that has been made in Cass County through the Cass County Land Bank Authority, and shed light on the unprecedented funding we've received in the past year. The Cass County Land Bank Authority was established in 2008 by the Cass County Board of Commissioners and has played a pivotal role in disposing of foreclosed properties and aiding local jurisdictions in development, redevelopment, and blight removal. However, such vital work requires financial backing. And historically, our revenue has averaged about $2,500 a year, mainly derived from annual billboard rental income and the sale of side lots for about $100 when a property did not sell at the tax foreclosure sale. In the past year, our financial landscape has witnessed a significant transformation with an influx of nearly $2 million in grants. These grants, spanning the blight elimination programs of 1, 2, and 3, and as well as the My Hope grant program, are instrumental in our mission to eliminate hazardous vacant structures in the county and support our homeowners enhancing their homes' energy efficiency. Large grants of this magnitude are typically channeled towards large cities in the state of Michigan. I know for a fact that there are large city land bank directors that are very upset that small counties like ours have been awarded these substantial grants. This achievement is a testament to our commitment and strategic planning. Listen to these numbers. PA 166 of 2022 was $75 million allocated to the State Land Bank Authority. PA 1 of 2023 allocated another $30.5 million for blight elimination in the state of Michigan. The My Hope program got an allocation of $27.3 million in the state, and the MISTA CDB Chill program, which is on your agenda today, another $20 million. Now, while we may not have a direct say in how these state funds are allocated, we do have the power to advocate for our county's fair share. These funds are not a gift. They are our hard-earned tax dollars. And it's only fair that a portion of this financial boon is reinvested right here in Cass County. The Chill application is being spearheaded by Emily LeGros. She's the vice chair of the Land Bank, and she brings valuable expertise to the table. The Village of Cass has already secured $500,000 in the first round of the Chill program, and given her proven success, she has taken the helm for our application, ensuring that we maximize the benefits available through this opportunity. This program will be a great complement to the My Hope program that we already have, because the Chill program can address health hazards within a home, like mold. That's a concern that falls well beyond the scope of the My Hope, that what the My Hope funding can cover. And despite my time constraints, I do recognize the importance of this initiative, and I trust that Emily's leadership will steer our application towards success. I ask for your support and approval of this resolution authorizing submittal of the Chill Program grant application. Your support in this matter is crucial as we strive to secure resources that will contribute significantly to the betterment of our community. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I have a question. It's not related to that, but when I seen you and heard about taxes, remember last year we had the possibility of being sued because of our tax from the land bank and us getting houses and selling them.
Who was going to sue us?
It was a class action lawsuit.
The tax sale.
Yes.
Talking about the tax property.
Okay, yeah, that has nothing to do with the land bank.
That has nothing to do.
Nothing to do. That's just my job as a treasurer.
Did I
I've
miss
been in a
that?
lawsuit since I became treasurer in 2018.
So did I miss
That's
that?
just normal.
And-
No. Well, so we have multiple lawsuits still going on.
Okay.
Let me put treasurer's hat back on.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have the class action lawsuit that there's a lot of appeals going on right now concerning that. With the class action lawsuit is a nice package to settle that issue, except you've got these lawyers who say,
Right.
but I want my piece. So they're appealing, and they're trying to get some of our homeowners to not go into class action
Right.
and to file outside of that class
Right.
action. We do have 8 opt-outs, and all 8 of those are trying to sue us separately, yes.
Okay, so I didn't miss
But that has
nothing.
nothing to do with the,
I'm sorry. I apologize again. For the 3rd time, I apologize.
I'd just like to say, a testament to the land bank and
Yes.
help you. I mean, I think
Absolutely.
You know, I was on the land bank in Van Buren County for a while before I came here, and we looked at the land bank here for inspiration on how to set things up. And so I think for many years, you guys have done a great job of setting a good example, and seeing these resources flowing into Cass County is huge. And
It is.
being willing to put the extra work in to take advantage of these is huge. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited and very appreciative.
Yes.
Thank you.
Same here.
If I may, I agree. I just wrote grants, hard work of Hope Anderson. So thank you for that. And I know that there's all kinds of people in the county that are extremely grateful for what you've done.
We are at capacity though. So, hence, we're trying to get additional part-time help, and Emily's gonna spearhead this one. We're at capacity.
Do what you want.
Yes, I want to say, Hope, anything that's had your involvement so far, I've been very impressed with the outcome and the work that you're doing, so thank you very much. And just so everyone's aware, in preparation for today's meeting, I did call Hope earlier today just to ask her to step forward to the podium and to speak on this subject, because really it's important to just get a little further discussion on the subject other than what's provided in our agenda, and therefore we're make sure that we're covering all our bases. If there's any time for discussion or questions, just want to remind everybody this is the platform that we brought forth to be able to do so. So Hope, again, thank you so much for, I know it was a last minute thing, but I really appreciate you just taking the time to discuss this today.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions for
I would like to.
that item forward?
Yes, yes.
Very good.
Could I give you one more bit of information
Sure.
while I have your attention? Our land, this is something I've been wanting to announce for quite a while, and Jerry and I were just talking the other day, I realized I hadn't actually said it publicly, that our land bank was gonna help with the demolition of that former gas station in the village of Edwardsburg. We were gonna do the demolition, but there's underground storage tanks from the gas tanks, and there's a hydraulic lift in the basement. That complicated matters greatly. So we did reach out to the Department of Eagle, and we've had multiple meetings with them. Those meetings included Commissioner Barrera, they included Commissioner Marchetti, they included Administrator Newton, and they already are aware of this good news. But, and I did submit this as part of our round 4 grant application for demolition, but right after that I submitted it, the Department of Eagle called and said, we want to do it all. We are going to do the demolition, the underground storage tank removal, the hydraulic lift, the soil samples.
the whole
When
thing.
they're done, that parcel will no longer be contaminated. So that's great news. We have the official notice, and they have given us a time frame that it will be done by this summer. By this summer, we'll be completely removed.
That's
It's been a safety hazard for the museum.
Everybody around in the surrounding area. So,
Yes, so that's,
Yep.
I'm gonna officially give that good news. By this summer, it'll be cleaned up, Jerry.
Very good, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.
So next, we're gonna move into the next item, the master plan updates. If everyone's got the packet in front of them, I'll go ahead and just read the background on this, and then we'll ask people to speak on this behalf. So, the background, the Cass County Planning Commission has been working over the past years to facilitate an update to the county's master plan. The last update was completed in 2014, so that's been 10 years. The time has come for the plan to be updated and revised to reflect the current conditions based on the trends from 2014 and establish a roadmap for future opportunities. $15,000 has originally been appropriated in fiscal year '23 budget for the master plan update. Additionally, in July 2023, master plan commitment agreements were approved by the Pokagon Township, Galena Township, Wayne Township, and the Village of Vandalia. The commitment agreements between the local municipalities and the county provided $1,500 in funding from each local municipality to help further defray the cost of the county, to help defray the cost to the county, as well as commit resources towards the joint master plan. During the original master plan process, the Cass County Planning Commission requested quotes and hosted meetings to review proposals. 3 quotes have been received and the vendor was selected. In the intervening time, there were challenges that had occurred with the original vendor for the master plan update regarding scheduling and other related matters. After extensive review and discussion, the vendor and the Planning Commission elected to discontinue that agreement. The commitments for the local municipalities were also returned, along with a letter detailing the situation and informing them that when a new vendor and the costs were finalized, a new commitment agreement detailing an updated share of costs would be prepared and issued for their approval. As such, a new vendor is now necessary. McKenna was the second lowest bid during the proposal review process, and the Planning Commission held a second interview with McKenna in November. Following this interview, the Planning Commission recommends approving the master plan update proposal from McKenna. Does anyone else have anything they want to discuss on this?
Well, I would just like to comment that the reason why we chose the first vendor was because he was the cheapest. And actually, the McKenna, we were more happy with McKenna with some of the some of their proposal. They had quite a vision, and they were looking ahead to the future, and we thought that that was important. I'm happy to say that Rebecca Harvey from McKenna is here, and she can, if Rebecca, if you wouldn't mind, come up to the podium and talk a little bit about what our plans are.
I would be happy to.
Thank you. Yes, well, my name is Rebecca Harvey, and I'm working with McKenna on your master plan project, I should say, on the proposal for your project. And I actually, I work with McKenna on projects. I'm also a planning consultant on my own, so I serve a lot of communities. I'm located in Kalamazoo, and McKenna has an office in Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, so we're not far away. And you are absolutely right. It was a very interesting conversation when I first met with the Planning Commission, because the same team who is working, is proposing to work on the Cass County, we were in the throes of finishing up the master plan for Berry County. And Berry County happens to have 11 of their communities under county planning, happens to also be under county zoning, which I know Cass County doesn't have county zoning, but the point being is we were having such success with a lot of the ideas we used in the Berry County. In fact, we received the Michigan Association of Planning Award for that plan for excellence in planning.
Oh, wow.
And to some of the things that Cass County's working on, which was why we had such an interesting proposal for you. And so yeah, we were really excited to put that together. And in fact, I was just talking to her and saying that the fact that you don't have county zoning, that there are local zoning ordinances, but county planning really adds an interesting perspective to your plan. And we're actually quite excited about the opportunity to put that together for you. The specifics of the proposal, I mean, I'm happy to, I know you have that in front of you, I'm happy to answer questions for that, but we tried to gauge that based on the interest I was hearing from the Planning Commission. I'm certainly, I know the Planning Commission would like the opportunity for me to attend as frequently as they want. We've structured it that way so that whenever they want me here, I can be here, and I'm not that far away, so.
I would also like to comment, if I may, that Rebecca did the plan for Mason Township.
Yes.
So she is familiar, she has a familiarity with Cass County. And then we also have the chair of the Planning Commission here, Dan Stutzman. And I don't know if you want to add anything, Dan?
I just want to comment on why we chose option 2 of the 3 plans. Is because it was going to send out questionnaires to our community and our townships so that we could get feedback as to what we really want in this master plan and everything that everybody else wants in the master plan. So that's why we chose option 2. It allowed us to have the questionnaires sent out, and then we can look at all those questionnaires, and if there's things we don't have in the master plan that we want to put in the master plan, we definitely will. The other thing is, we never had nothing in the master plan for solid waste disposal. And that's something that's gonna be big in this new master plan also, with our solid waste committee also, which I'm chairman of, so. Definitely need something in there for that too.
Yes, Dan, thank you for bringing that up. That actually answered one of my questions that I had for us tonight. I'm probably the newest member on Planning Commission, so I'm just getting my feet wet with this subject and learning the ins and outs of it. So thank you for coming tonight and being able to discuss it. The one thing that I did want, does anyone else have any questions for her while she's here?
I have one more, but go ahead.
Sure. Well, so in looking at this, I did talk with Matt about it, but I told him that we'd probably bring it up again today just so that we can have it out in the open. The question that I had was particularly regarding the cost. And the cost is showing a proposal of $50,000. And I understand that we have budgeted $15,000 for fiscal year '23, and that this is gonna be going to fiscal year '24 and '25. I'm just wondering, as Matt and I spoke about earlier, how does the math add up to this, and what's that gonna do to our budget going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at it, we had originally planned on it being split across multiple fiscal years anyway. I think actually the original plan may have been to have it be over fiscal year '23 and '24. But it took, with obviously some of the delays we ran into, that created some challenges. But, you know, I mean, I think when you look at the local share we're gonna see likely from the local units, and I know it probably won't be 1,500, I don't know what that final number will be ultimately, but I would imagine that will go up a little bit, so that'll help contribute towards the cost. And then obviously, because of it taking a year, we know we'll be into the next fiscal year, we'll be able to plan for that, you know, in next year's budget. So I really don't anticipate it being a challenge. I mean, I guess the one thing I would say is that, you know, when you look at these plans, they get updated, you know, on average, you know, you might look every 10 years. And so, you know, if you're gonna have that kind of a gap, it's really important that we put the time and the effort into making sure that they're useful, that it's gonna be applicable for us, not just next year, but, you know, 4 or 5 years down the line, and really gives us a good guide for the roadmap to the future. If we don't, we're just throwing away money on something that really isn't gonna be helpful, and we don't want that at all. I'd rather see us make sure we're spending the money on something that's gonna be useful for the longer term.
I'd like to make a comment too, is that we haven't paid out anything of that 15,000.
No, that didn't
So
come
that's,
out. We didn't
that
pay any
is
of it.
still intact. We did not pay anything on
Yeah,
that,
they,
so.
because of those issues, the previous vendor charged us nothing, so, you know, that money's still there too.
Very good.
Oh, I also, excuse me, when I looked at this, I looked at you talked about the maps. We have a marvelous GIS department here, and so we would really like to be able to use our GIS department doing the maps. And so would that help with the cost at all?
If that's what you want, now normally what we do is, when you have that kind of resource, we take that data and then we generate the maps. But when you have that level of data, then us generating the maps that we want is much easier, less time consuming. And so the cost, I don't know that there is a high cost to that anyway, because we're not generating the data, we're simply taking your data. But instead of McKenna doing it, because we tend to generate maps depending on what we're trying to illustrate, but I can always have them go back and take a look at that if you're asking for the county's GIS department to work directly with McKenna in the development of those maps and generation. I can certainly see how that impacts the budget.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great, because we've had conversations with her previously about it, and our GIS department is second to none.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. I can do
Well, and I
that.
think too, along those same lines, I mean, with those maps, we want those to be like living, breathing things that
Yep.
we can interact with. And so, you know, outside of just being in the report, being able to leverage those, you know, across your website and things like that.
Then to have that be within your department. I
Absolutely,
get
yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan, I just want to circle back to something from our previous planning commission meeting regarding the schedule, particularly on the visits. I recall that you had made a comment that you were asking for them to be more present considering our planning commission meetings, but that could affect the cost. Did that get sorted out?
I just talked to her about it a little bit there. We are scheduled for 3 regular meetings. We can have our committee meeting, and then I can discuss it with her over the phone, which won't bring her down here as many times. If we get to the point, we could probably even do a Zoom meeting if we had to. So, she's agreed to however many meetings we want her at, she'll be at, but there will be an added cost for her trip down here. So if we can afford some of the trips down here, why, we shouldn't add too much to the program.
So aside from that, are there any potential anticipated additional costs or unforeseen expenses that we should be aware of?
That should be all in option.
Yeah,
I believe,
yeah.
When the questionnaires and everything are all in there.
Yep. Well, once we put a proposal together, then whatever work we do that is covered by that proposal is just covered by that, and it's not charged per item. The only time additional is charged is if it's outside of the scope.
Sure.
And at that point, the only thing we were talking about outside of that initial scope were additional meetings, so.
Very good.
And one more
Everything
quick
else
question.
should be covered, so.
Yeah.
I have one more quick question. Berry Counties, is it on their website?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'd be happy
I
to
love
take-
that plan, that's why, well, I shouldn't say I love that plan, but I mean, it's a great example of what a county plan can be, and so I do.
So we can take a look at that on Berry's.
Yes, it is, and it's online, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
So as we wrap up this subject, if there was any questions that we had regarding this plan that came to us later, who would be the appropriate point of contact to ask?
I guess you could ask me and then I'll forward all the information to her. I've got all her phone numbers and everything. If you have a question, if I don't have the answer, I'll get the answer from Rebecca.
Okay.
I'm happy to help try to coordinate.
I was
too.
gonna
So if
say, yeah.
If you email me, I can get together with Dan and we can work together too, so either way.
Yeah, so to reduce on those questions though, I mean, does anybody have anything else that they want to ask or bring forward? If not, I think we're all set on that. Thank you again for coming.
Yes, you're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to be here, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up on our agenda, we have item C, the FOC Bank Depository Update. Do we have somebody from the courts that's gonna help explain that today, or?
I know about it.
I can give a quick
Yeah,
update.
he
So-
can or I can, either
Either
one.
Yeah, so, basically, Fifth Third Bank is closing its Cassopolis branch. So, with that in mind, the Cass County Friend of the Court currently has an account there, that they use for daily deposits, that are pushed by the bank to, it's a Michigan State Disbursement Unit, which processes child support payments. So they're looking at moving from, obviously closing that account since the branch is closing and moving to, another bank. Part of the idea here is that I think they utilize, court security to help with some of those deposits, things like that. So being able to have one close by is a critical element to that. They have investigated options, and GW Jones is the bank that they have ultimately decided they would like to go with. In order to do that, there is a resolution that is required of the board to kind of outline permission to move forward with that, as well as some provisions that the bank required. So that's what the attached resolution does, is designate GW Jones as the depository for the Cass County Friend of the Court.
I work with an entity that used to go through Fifth Third here in Cass, and we had to do the same thing for security deposits. And we needed a resolution from our board, separate from the county, to do it also, because it's part of the FDIC's rules, or something like that, for you to make it official, that this is why we're doing it, what we're doing it for businesses. And we also needed a business plan and all that, but it didn't have to come from the board, it had to come from the entity. Everybody has to do it.
Well, I like the fact that we're using now a local, a real local bank, GW Jones, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Are they, is that branch in Edwardsburg, right? Do they
Well,
have?
there's an Edwardsburg branch, there's a branch here in Cassopolis, and then the main office is in Marcellus.
Very good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I too like the idea that they're using a local bank, and I think we've also utilized them earlier in the year, last year, right? for another project, so it's
I
good
think
to
we did too,
be
yeah.
able to keep business here locally. Does anyone else have any questions?
No, I think we need to move it.
All right, if we're okay, then we're gonna go ahead and move that item forward to our next business meeting. Was everybody okay with moving the master plan item forward to the business meeting? I did look over that, I forgot.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Yeah. All right, on to our final item for the evening. We have Frank Butts here to help us kind of wrap our minds around the ambulance, or excuse me, the ambulance issue that we're facing with at Castle.
Thank you. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions anytime as I go along here. And I thank Commissioner Lawrence for inviting me to come and have a chance to speak with you, and to warn you that the sheriff said if I go very long, he's gonna give me the hook.
Well, he'll have to talk to us about that.
I'm sure you're fine.
I've been involved in trying to provide, or hope that we had, proper ambulance service since back in the early 80s when the Dowagiac Volunteer Fire Department had their own ambulance service, and they provided coverage to Wayne Township. The step before that was when the undertakers were the ambulance service with their hearses. And it was a matter of, as Dr. Wehrman told me, we come to the intersection and depending upon the patient in the back was doing whether we went right to the hospital or left to the funeral home. We certainly don't want to go back in that direction. What caught us by surprise, and I say us, it was actually 9 municipalities in the city of Dowagiac when Pride Care decided with a 12-hour notice to leave. And those municipalities that were affected by that have met, I think, 4 times now, and we're working very well together. The emergency thing got us 1 ambulance, an ALS Priority 1 ambulance, which was trying to do the work of the 3 that we had that left. And obviously that can't happen. Between dispatch and the medical control board and others at the county level worked very hard to make sure that we had other ambulance services out of the county and in the county, including Newburgh and Marcellus and Edwardsburg and Vebums and Van Buren, to help fill that gap until we could get something a little more permanent in place. The other issue we had was that SMACUS, which was providing the 1 ambulance for us, their bylaws did not allow them to contract out service, even though they were doing that for Milton and part of Pokagon Township. So they've had to undergo some bylaw changes, which they are in the process of doing that. The meetings that we've had, we have come up with a funding formula for the time being that involves taxable value, population, and a flat fee for each of the municipalities that are involved. And with that in place and pending approval of each of the municipalities' boards, we'll have a second ALS ambulance around the 1st of March. And that one will be stationed in Dowagiac. And we're hopeful that that's gonna help at least get us to where we need to be, take some of the pressure off on the dispatchers and the other ambulance services that are trying to fill that gap. The reason that I'm here is we've had a little discussion about long-term funding, and obviously we don't want to go through this thing again. We want to be in a position where ambulance service is reliable. I came from a background of thinking that users should pay. And I felt that way with ambulance service until the last 4 or 5 years. Ambulance fees have gone up. Ambulance staffing has become more difficult because young people don't want to go into being paramedics and EMTs, and so there's a shortage of them. Hospitals are hiring paramedics away from the ambulance services to work in their ERs. Hospitals, especially the one in Dowagiac, are cutting back on their services that are provided without transport to other hospitals. And every time that happens, it takes an ambulance that's in the area out of the area to transport that patient somewhere else. So that makes this number of ambulances even more crucial. Basically, what we want to plant the seed and water and be thinking about is a county-wide EMS millage. 2 nights ago, all of the ambulance services, with the exception of Marcellus and Edwardsburg, met at the Cass Fire Department. It's the first time that ambulance services have met together as a group. And it was a very good discussion, and part of that came about is one of the ambulance services is gonna start charging to go into another township. And that township would be responsible to pay for that. It's completely different from anything that happens with fire departments that provide mutual aid with each other at no cost. And we assumed that that was the case with ambulances, but because of funding and stressing and having to add an ambulance in Newburgh, they just couldn't continue to do that without some support. They've assured us that since we have a second ALS ambulance coming into Wajek, that they're not gonna do that. And that was a big important step. But the other thing that we talked about is that if we start looking at a county-wide millage, and the group is not asking for money from the county. What we're asking is support somewhere down the road, whether it's next year or the year after, to have a county-wide vote to provide EMS. That would not have any effect on the existing services. What would happen is similar to what goes on up in Van Buren County. Van Buren County has 4 different ambulance services that provide coverage for their residents. What would involve, or at least as that we see it, is that the county would collect the millage just like they do for Council on Aging or anything else. And then that millage would be dispersed to the ambulance services or to the municipalities that contract for ambulance service. It would give us some stability, it would give us some equalize, so that we're not gonna help you unless you pay us, because we all have this money coming in, and each service that already exists would get their share for the area that they cover based on their population or on their area. So basically what I'm saying is I want you to keep an open mind about it. I think it's something we need to have some more discussion about. I know that there's been a discussion about under no way do we want a countywide millage for ambulance, and I strongly disagree with that. I do agree that we don't want a countywide millage for fire. Fire departments are a completely different animal, and there's a lot more independence there, and what we're doing now with mutual aid and fire protection is working fine. Don't fix it if it's not broke. But the ambulance service, in the short term, I think that we are in a position where we're gonna provide what we need, but we need something that's gonna bring stability long term. Cass County I'm also on the Council on Aging Board. It's very obvious our county is an aging population. And that makes ambulance service that much more crucial. And when we have a hospital that's requiring more and more transports, that makes it more crucial as well. So, any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me anytime. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank, appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
I just want to express my appreciation to Frank,
Yes,
and I mentioned that last night, and all the work that
Absolutely.
they put in.
yeah,
They put a lot of work into
They
this.
have.
And
they
just want
absolutely
to
have.
express my thanks and appreciation
Yeah.
for that.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, thanks Frank for coming in. I know this subject has come up a couple of times for discussion. Particularly, the ambulance thing, it can be a little confusing from the outside looking in, and exactly how this operates and what the clear path is going forward to meet the needs of our community. So, does anyone else have any questions, concerns, anything they want to discuss on this subject? No? We don't actually move anything forward from this
No.
talking point.
Just as added as a discussion item.
Okay. So I think that concludes everything that we've had under new business. Am I correct? Very good. We have no closed session scheduled. We'll move into board member comments and announcements.
I have a question. Sheriff, do you want us to go over this, or this is just for our general information right now?
So, at the workshop, that's what we had the other day, was a workshop. There was a proposal that was mentioned by Commissioner Lawrence, and this is basically an outline of what he proposed at that meeting, and I just kind of put it in writing as to what was proposed by him.
Okay.
I was hoping it would be taken up for discussion or anything.
Okay,
That was done during the workshop.
okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Catching that, thank you.
Oh, I got you.
Do we have any other board member comments or announcements?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We got a motion, support?
Support.
All say aye.
Aye.
Aye.